right, guys, welcome to the Cleveland Moto podcast. We're still indoors because it's still COVID-y outside. We're at what, 359?
I think so. I want to say
so.
359.
Yeah. Now, I've never met a podcast so bad at keeping track of its own numbers, but I believe I just dropped 358 the other day.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. So.
Yeah. So tonight with us, to my left, I there you go. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Me? Oh, him.
Right. Who am I pointing to?
Johnny Mac?
Yeah, I think Johnny Mac.
and then John, point to somebody. Okay.
I might have seen you're pointing to the wall, but I have a feeling that you're pointing to Dan.
Dan.
Oh, Dan KROMKE.
And Dan, point to somebody.
Oh, wait here, look. Oh, there he is. Steve Sleepy. That looks like a penis if you don't do it.
It does. If you just catch the side of it coming in, yeah, you're in bad shape. So just to bring people up to speed, we are still without our grumpy sewer guy.
Yeah.
So he's not ready for prime time.
No, that's kind of sad. I did see him at work, though. I went to pick up a circular saw from John and Steve's work the other day, and he seemed upright and doing things. And was at work, so he's doing stuff, but I think at night he's not feeling all that smooth.
Yeah.
But John will know better, right?
I'm pretty good. I mean, I've been, I'm rocking and rolling. But I never really felt that bad to begin with. Just mild symptoms, night sweats. I don't think I really lost my sense of taste or smell. And, I had some body aches and stuff like that, but whatever.
I did like when I couldn't smell anything, I was ripping farts everywhere and my whole family hated me, but you can't smell it. So it's awesome. It's like, you're just fucking doing your job, man.
That's just vicious, man.
Well,
Yeah. But if you got a superpower, flex on it.
That's it, man. You got to look for the silver lining.
Yeah.
So, what you had?
So you were, Phil, you were asking if it was after I met you at the compound to get the bikes, and it was. I was at the compound, and then Sleepy sent me a text message saying he tried to start the snowmobile and the pull cord wasn't returning. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll go over there. And I asked him if he wanted his SSR, and he exclaimed, yes. So at that point, I decided, you know what? I'll throw the SSR in the back of my car, and I'll take it over to Sleepy Shores, and maybe we'll, have some shenanigans. So,
most of the time when you say like, oh, honey, I'm on my way home. I'm leaving work at, 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. or whatever, and I'm on my way home, and you don't come home for another 3 hours. It's because you intentionally went to fuck off. In this particular case, I can confirm that John was actually trying to leave his job when I got over to the compound and broke the key off in the lock because the sumbitch was frozen. And I made a Hail Mary call, like, there's got to be somebody out here because I have gone through all of my assets that I have with me, and I am not getting this master disc lock off of this fucking container. But John was he was trying to go home. Now then, after I caught him and made him not go home, then Sleepy caught him and made him not go home.
Yeah. I mean, it's not hard to twist his arm, though, because then he comes and gets to play. And then the weird part is my wife seems to just love John. So if he comes over to play, I'm allowed to play too. And she doesn't even get mad about it, which is fucking amazing. Well, then we fucked the whole yard up, broke shit, killed ourselves, did all this, but we ended up taking some straw out to a barn for her, and now we're heroes.
Oh, good.
Fuck, we could set the whole house on fire as long as we do the one thing. She's fine.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but we definitely confirmed. I think John drove his car on the pond and the snowmobile and I drove the dirt bike. So the pond is very rideable a pond. Although John did donuts with the snowmobile on the pond, which polished it. And then you cannot ride an SSR on that, I found out.
You can barely even stand on it. It's so
really?
fucking ridiculous.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Well,
So
maybe
But I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be
maybe
good.
if we get a few runs out there with the spikes on the tires, that'll chew it up a little bit.
The spikes
Yeah.
are needed, though. I think I broke my pancreas and spleen, and I think my leg is also not facing the right direction right now. We have some footage of it, but John was doing really good on this. Like he dominated it. We're like, I don't know if we can make it across or not. And he just fucking went right through the middle and said, "Fuck it," and went through it, and it was rock solid. So it was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, what you didn't see was me taking a couple little. I took a couple of the corners off just to test it out before I went for it. I'm like, I better just make sure that like little quickest, shortest distance between 2 points. And I'm like, well, that seems solid. And if me and that sled, the sled's 500 pounds, so me and the sled's almost 800 pounds probably.
Yeah, and then
So
I was in the middle
we're
of
good.
donuts, so that was another 240 pounds. So we had 1,000 pounds on the ice, no problem.
How deep do you think that water is?
I think in the middle it's 12 and a half feet.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that deep.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like this morning
So
it was -4. So
Have you poked a hole through the ice to see how thick it is?
no, it seemed like somebody was ice fishing though, or something. There was one hole that kind of froze over too, and the hole was 4 inches deep and it was frozen. So
That's where all the fish were trying to still breathe for a little bit.
yeah.
I think you might have an otter.
Yeah, it might be. But I was super impressed. So people that don't or haven't ridden a snowmobile in a while, when you fucking punch that thing, it fucking wheelies. Like it wheelies like you're seeing sky and you got a foot of air underneath the front of that fucking thing. And my daughter, when she jumped on, I did it with her and she loved it until her mom saw her do it. And then once her mom saw her do it, then she was like, I didn't really want to do that. But while she was doing it with me, she was squealing in delight and loving every second of it. Like,
All I could say is if I was sitting in front of you on that fucking sled and you were doing that, I'd have pissed my pants.
you have to admit, dude, that was the best $500 you spent in a long time, dude. That thing's cool, man.
Yeah, so far so good. We already got a repair though. The pool cord's fucked up. We had to do a belt start.
Literally, he took his belt off.
Yeah.
I had to take my belt off and wrap it around the variator and give it a yoink.
Yep.
It got it started though. We might be belt starting it for the rest of its life though.
Well,
Yeah.
and once it's started, if it's set up right and it just idles and runs forever, so be it.
Yeah.
It ran great after he got it.
You
going.
don't stall it out because there's no clutch.
Right. It's a variator, so as long as the idle's high enough and it's not creeping, you'll be fine forever.
And it's
Yep.
not really loud, which is cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think my neighbors would care, but at the same time, you can rip and it's not like the SSR was 15 times louder than the snowmobile.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because you were ripping around in the SSR and I was hearing like an echo, off in the distance.
Yeah.
It sounded cool.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna right back. I got my nature call.
It was fun doing that little bit of riding today with John. It was great. I just needed that. It really felt good. But we made about a dozen laps and it was a load of fun, had a blast. And then I decided, I was like, okay, well, I've had enough of this. Gonna put the bike away. Got to go back to the shop and put a bunch of screws in the tires. Yeah. And sure enough, the driving out of our compound to where I had the truck parked, because other vehicles have driven over that, it was a sheet of ice. I mean, it was under the little bit of snow that was there. It was just a sheet of ice. And when I pulled in and just lightly breathed on the brake, I just laid the bike out. And so I did a Superman, and the bike fell down onto the throttle side. Everything was fine. It never even quit running. But I did the Superman. And then it wasn't until after I left that I realized I lost my glasses. My glasses are back at the compound somewhere. And my keys. So my ring of keys is back at the compound somewhere. So
no. I'll be out there tomorrow.
I've got a tile on it. So I've got a tile, and if I'm going to come out and have shenanigans tomorrow, I'm going to stop at the compound first and run around with my Bluetooth and see if I can activate the tile on the keychain. So find it that way. So I've already got it set. So if somebody else with a tile goes near it, it'll ping. So, but I don't think anybody else with a tile is going to be running around the compound.
So, Phil, how long did it take you to screw up one
My
motorcycle?
wife has one.
So to put screws in one tire, technically to do both tires is 45 minutes. And it's 45 minutes, and it is 125 screws in the back tire, and I believe 190 screws in the front tire. The back is a 12 and the front's a 14. So
so you can just zip those right in. You don't have to drill a pilot hole or anything like that.
You just zip them right in, and they're perfect because the screw actually fits in a bit holder. So it's that 1/4-inch drive. They're sharp as fuck. I mean, like once you've got them on the bike and you're on the wheels, be careful putting your hand on there because the way they engineered that screw, it's got a cutting surface built into the head of it. So if you put your hands on it, like careful, you're probably going to get cut. They're very edgy. So, but yeah, I did 45 minutes and I did, whatever that is, 200 or 300 and some odd screws. So yeah, about 315 screws per bike. So I did John's bike, I did my bike, and I've got enough screws over to do one more bike, enough screws left over so we can order another set.
And you didn't end up with a flat tire. I was a little worried. I wore my knobbies down a little bit.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, that's a thought.
Somebody may have been doing some smoky burnouts on their bike. Because if you look at I know my bike has been ridden a lot less than your bike's been ridden. But if you look at the tires on my bike, they're still square. I mean, the blocks on my tires are still square. John's blocks all look like wedges. They very clearly, like when he wears this tire out this direction, he can take the tire off, put it around backwards, and it'll be very grippy for the other way. Basically, you're making paddle wheels. But yeah, so initially I thought the 3/8 screws were going to be far too short when I was doing the rear tires. But when I got around to your front tire, it turns out that the 3/8 screws are absolutely perfect. So I don't think I'd want them to be any longer for the front tires. The back tires, no problem. I'd say we can go up to a 1/2 inch. It's not a big deal. But yeah, so I've already ordered in another kit of screws. So we'll see how much fun that is. But I mean, if I can get out there tomorrow, anybody wants to ride my bike, they can.
Well, I'll be working. Maybe I'll try to go in early.
Uh-huh.
Get out a little bit earlier too, but
I mean, I won't be there before noon, so you can just don't worry about that. It'll be well afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's they went in pretty good. They went in pretty easy. I did a valve adjustment because I haven't done a proper valve adjustment on that bike since I gotten it.
Yeah.
And man, they had tightened the fuck up. There was almost no clearance. And that's a machine like on something like that, I'm probably going to set the valves pretty big, probably 10 to 15, and maybe 10 intake, 15 exhaust, very much like we do with the buddy motor, that seems to be a really good, happy spot for those. Well, damn, man, they were at like 0. Like I couldn't get my smallest gauge in. Like once I opened it and I put it in and I could kind of move, I couldn't move it up and down at all. I could kind of slide it, but it was definitely, you couldn't just punch it in. So they had, as we know about, motor vehicles, machines from a certain country, you should do a valve adjustment now. So we know mine had completely closed up. So there was, Sparky and I both took a look at it. It was
my battery's dying.
Oh, yeah. It was a wafer thin clearance on that valve. So just something for our friends out there that have these bikes. They might want to have a look at that. I mean, and I don't know how many hours of riding that was, 8 or 12 hours of riding or whatever. So yeah, so that's something to think about. But other than that, super fine. I didn't have any Loctite on my idle adjustment screw, and my idle adjustment screw had just backed all the way out. So that when I was going through giving the bike service today, I put a little drop of green Loctite on there, so I could make sure that thing doesn't work its way in or out again. Because I was running it on the choke today, and I thought it was just because it was 18 degrees, and that there's no airbox on those bikes. It's just that big foam, that's just that filter.
Right.
So there's really not a trapped airspace. B, what's the name of that cat?
Elton.
Elton? Like Elton John? No? That's a very fuzzy, very thick looking. Is that a Russian blue cat?
I know that he's a gray cat.
He's a very gray cat.
Mm-hmm.
My big cat came over here and left something terrible on the floor right next to where I'm recording. And I don't know if I scared him out of the litter box or what, but he didn't cover it. Just off he fucked. And like, that was not cool. He did not do me any favors whatsoever. Just a mean friend, a bad cat. So I took care of it. Yeah. It's been buried and had Febreze added to it. So now it smells like Hawaiian cat poo. Or cat poo in Oahu. So the reports are back from the AIM Expo in Las Vegas.
I was going to ask about that.
The AIM Expo is over. They are doing it next year in Las Vegas as well. They're doing it, I think, February 15th through 17th. Talked to several different people who were there. General consensus is a lot of people that had paid for booth space did not show up, but companies like SSR, Benelli SSR, Pitbikes were riding around, they did show up and they had a really fucking big booth there. So a lot of people have said good things about that. They've got some new bikes on display, some of the QJ Benelli motorcycles, the big 700, that adventure looking bike looks great. They got all kinds of stuff. But yeah, Suzuki looked like they had maybe 7 or 8 bikes in the booth. Not a big, but like they were the only other major manufacturer. They were the only major manufacturer that was actually there. Mm. So it did. My one group of friends that was there said we arrived and we were going to be good and we had our masks on. And the more that we kind of walked around, the more we realized we were the only people that had our masks on. Mm-hmm. And there was this weird psychology of like, because we were wearing our masks, it was making them feel bad because they knew they should be wearing theirs and they were getting the stink eye from people. So they were kind of like, yeah, after an hour and a half or so, we all just decided, screw it, we'll take our chances, we'll take our masks off. So that's kind of that was the consensus. So I said, was that the case with the whole show? And he's like, yeah, pretty much. He says, it was Vegas. What are you going to do?
Well, and I think that it was just bad timing this year with the Omicron thing. And it's probably why there were so many empty booths.
Yeah, there was tons of empty booths. They tried real hard to get me to go out. They were going to give me 2 booths for free if we just showed up and just went out there. And, that wasn't happening. So I punched out at the last minute. Just wasn't worth my time or wasn't interesting enough for me to take the chance of going out there. So but yeah, I think that next year, if they work in the same thing, if they're in the same weekend as the SHOT Show again, which I can't imagine they would be, but if they are, we're definitely going to get media credentials for the SHOT Show and go out and do a twofer on that one, because that'd be a lot of fun. Would have a blast doing that. So these firearms companies all made a lot of money this year. I mean, a whole lot of money. Bullets, guns, everything. So these guys all had massive profits, and they got to give that away in the form of marketing. And that means that you weren't getting like a ballpoint pen that said like Glock on the side. You were getting like a hat and a backpack and a shoulder bag that said Glock on the side. So, want to help these companies do anything they can to spend down those overages, reduce their tax burdens by taking all the cool swag that they're willing to give me.
So you were speaking of Suzuki. Did you guys see that link I sent over this week for the Suzuki Nuda?
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. That thing is crazy. It's really cool.
It is cool. It's a really cool thing. Bring up an image for it. Yeah. Because it is pretty damn cool. Just getting into all the bikes that were out there and have existed. It's weird when you think of those bikes that were in our country. We barely got to look at them at all, and it's fun. That stuff that SSR and Benelli had in their booth, there's so much stuff that we are never going to see from that company because it's not going to make it into the United States.
Right.
But they've got a retro bike that looks like a Royal Enfield. It's called the Imperial.
I heard about
Imperial 400. And yeah. So this was the new to concept bike, did the show circuit, the Tokyo show and everything years ago.
And it had centrifugal hubs and all kinds of shit, man.
Yeah, 750 cc's, all kinds of crazy stuff. But I mean, it's that idea of those prototype or, you know, shows like Tokyo Motorcycle, Tokyo Motor Show and stuff like that. But yeah, and that was that had variable geometry too, so you could push buttons on it and it would change the stance and the ride height and everything on that bike, or at least in the concept.
If you squint your eyes really hard, though, you can almost see the Hayabusa there.
Yeah, I would say there's a little bit of a Hayabusa and there's a little bit of the original Katana hiding in there too.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So there's a little bit of the original Katana kind of stuffed in that bike. It's cool.
So what is that? Is that a shaft drive?
No, it was chain drive. It was on the other side, so it had the disc and the chain on that side, and then the front was a centrifugal hub.
Right, because I could see the disc on the other side and nothing on this side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a BMW. They got nothing on the one side and then everything on the other side. So I see it. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
So I think tomorrow, if I can reconnect with this guy, or Monday rather, I'm probably going out to Pittsburgh to buy a 400cc Kawasaki quad, an ATV with a plow.
Oh yeah.
And four-wheel drive, all the good stuff, 2,200 miles on it. And the guy had video of it running and everything else, and put a new battery in it, to sell it, had it listed up for $2,700 or something. And then when I called him and I was, chasing him down, and he goes, I can't get the damn thing to start now. So if you want it for $1,500, come and get it.
Fun.
So I feel like I kind of have to go get that. I mean,
you could double your money even if it doesn't run.
It's got a plow on it. I mean, and the plow kit looks nice. The plow kit doesn't look like it's been used very much.
What size is it?
400 cc's.
Yeah, that'll be a nice ride.
Seems like a safe bet, automatic transmission or whatever, semi-automatic transmission with a four-wheel drive. It seems like a no-brainer.
So I went to New Philadelphia today to pick up my lawnmower that I got.
Yeah.
Which ended up working great. My little deck idea on my fucking thing worked, and Dan's things worked perfectly. But they're a CF Moto dealer, and they had probably about 10 or 12 different quad runners, and also side-by-sides made by CF Moto and Kimco and all this other stuff.
Yep.
Some of those things are fucking nice, man. But
yeah.
they're like $7,500. They're not cheap.
Right.
Like, they're bringing in a premium product. But I got to say, like, I sat on it, and the big thing for me was the plastic. I wanted to feel what the plastic felt like.
Right.
And they're very, very, like, top four. Like, the plastic's very Suzuki, Honda-ish. Like, it's not shitty. Like that was the thing about, like, some of the Chinese quads and stuff in the old days, is the plastic was still brittle. And you can't have...
CF Moto was guilty of that. CF Moto was absolutely one of the offenders 10 years ago when you would lay your hands on a CF Moto bike or scooter and you'd grab that plastic, you knew it was going to shatter if you moved it too much.
Right.
And CF Moto is not a small company. It's gotten very big in the past 10 years. And now CF Moto is KTM. So, that's real. I mean, that's where that product is. Yeah. So, they've moved forward. The change in the Chinese landscape has gone wildly to the positive in the past 10 years. CF Moto 10 years ago, I wouldn't have looked twice at a CF Moto. We had them trying to sell us their product over and over again. The one you may remember was a CF Moto, and I think they may have called it a V5 or something, but it was a motorcycle. But the motorcycle had a 150cc or 250cc scooter, Variamatic belt drive drivetrain. So it was an automatic transmission motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
And in the area where the motor was supposed to be, there was a storage locker kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And they were deplorable. I mean, they were just crap. Everything on them, the metal was garbage. It was rusting by the time you opened up the crate. They were shit. They were absolute garbage. And they're C5 or V5 by CF Moto. And they were terrible bikes. I mean, they're absolutely dreadful machines. So, yeah, I don't I'm glad that we don't have to think about those so much, you know?
But have you considered carrying 4-wheelers at all? Like, or is that
No.
too much of a liability for you?
Yeah, I'm not going to touch that stuff. It's, first of all, it doesn't fit nicely anywhere in my shop.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it just doesn't. And it's never been the kind of thing that works well in my shop. And I just don't have the square footage that I want to dedicate to it.
Mm.
And if I just, for me, it's not worth it. I just have no desire to get into it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, it is a commitment. I'll tell you that. Like this dude, it was more power equipment than power sports. So it was a lot of lawnmowers and shit like that. But
so I pulled it up. There's the CF Moto V3.
Yeah. And
there's the CF Moto C or CF Moto V5. So the V5, the one that looks like a cruiser bike, that has, of course, the ubiquitous Chinese built-in speakers. But both of these have CVT scooter drivetrains. So all this motorcycle business that looks like it's a motorcycle is all just fake plastic dressing. Yeah. But these things were abjectly garbage. I mean, they were probably the worst thing I've ever worked on.
So, speaking of bikes with containers where motors are,
yeah,
have you seen the Navi reviews? People are losing their mind over the Navi. They think it's the greatest fucking bike ever created by Honda.
I will stand firmly on my position that I have not ridden one yet, but I predict that even after I ride one, I will still think that it is second best to a Buddy 125 in any category.
Right. Well, that's my thing. It's like all these YouTube reviewer guys are losing their fucking minds. The funnest bike ever, lowest price. No. I don't feel bad driving in the rain and all this shit. I'm like, have you tried a Buddy? Like a Buddy?
There's no way it could beat a Buddy.
No.
And in this particular case, I do not want to be the guy that actually buys one just to prove my point.
Maybe.
But, that motor is a 7.8, and this is rated by Honda, probably at the crank, 7.8 horsepower motor that puts out 50 miles per hour. And so with those numbers, that is way worse than a Buddy 125. That's way lower in power and speed, any way you measure it. I'm not saying the Buddy is the greatest motor scooter ever built, but what I'm saying is the Navi, which is a motor scooter that's wearing motorcycle clothing, that the Navi's not even good. Like, I'm not going to say it's great. It's not great. It's not good.
And you're losing the charm of a scooter. Like, you're getting less than scooter performance without the step through ability, without the ease. Like, it's just not a Buddy, or whatever, like a small scooter. It's just weird that people are
it's literally a modern day version of like the Honda Express, the Nopeds,
right?
Like it's just it's better than those, that's for sure. Anything's better than those.
And that's exactly, we're just gonna, all we have to say, if you're really concerned about what that is, why is it important? Why is that bike even worth talking about? Like, why would we have a discussion? Why would we need to, give the Navi any air? Why do we give that thing any oxygen at all?
Because it's cheap.
Here's the reason. Do you know what the Navi MSRP is in India?
It's got to be like $1,000 or something. Right?
It's $613.
Yeah.
Now at $613, now we can have a conversation.
What is it?
Absolutely have a conversation.
It's almost like it's 2,800 or 2,000 or something.
I'll tell you.
But I mean, like at $2,000, you're dipping your toe into TNT 135 area, right? Like that's what, 3,500.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, like, let me see what they say that is. That is a Navi. Yeah, I was thinking that they're getting it for under 2K. Yeah. So it's 1807, but of course you got to remember that there's automatically a destination charge on there. There's a freight surcharge of an additional 100 over whatever your dealer's charging, which our local guy charges 600 for freight on those. So your 1807 kind of real quickly turns up to about 2600, you know?
And that's basically like the pre-tax and stuff price
Yeah.
of a 135, right?
Yeah, you're in the same ballpark. I mean,
why would you do that? That's stupid.
well, to me, it's a bite in the ass too. If I know that the thing costs $631 in India,
Yeah.
paying $2,000 for it in the United States, I just feel like a schmuck. Like I just feel like I'm being taken advantage of, because in the United States, if it has Honda and the gas tank, it's shocking if it costs less than $2,000. And that's the only marketing they'll ever need to do is it's cheap, right? But I'm just not. Yeah, call me a dick. Call me not a team player. Whatever. Honda's allowed to fuck up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a fuck up. I'm sure somebody's going to enjoy that bike, but
Right.
it's just weird to see motorcycle promoters or whatever you want to call them, influencers or something, losing their shit over this fucking bike. When Honda, I didn't see the same thing when the Hunter Cub came out or the Cub or this other stuff. And you're talking about $1,000 more for a way better motorcycle in either case. You know what I mean? Like,
take a $680 bike at MSRP. Take an MSRP 680 bike, add 500 to it for freight, which you're paying too much, but in a container, you add 500 to it for freight, pay a customs or a tariff if you have to, which I don't think you do with India, and then ship that thing to America. You can still sell it at $1,500 and make a 40-point profit.
Right.
At $1,500. So, and that's at a 40-point profit. If you're selling that thing at the 14 to 15-point profit margin where it should be, we in America should be paying about $1,100 for that bike.
You're right.
And that's giving Honda the invoice price or the list price, that price of $681, which is full MSRP in India.
Right.
So, what's cost in India if the MSRP is $681?
Well, that's it. So I mean, like, if they could actually get the price of that down to $1,200, 16 out the door, then that would be like, okay, you're same kind of used buddy money or something. I'm like, okay, kind of, but
yeah. And I still would have a better day riding a used buddy with 20,000 miles on it.
You're right. Yeah.
Right.
Well, if you go loose and fast, that fucker goes 75 if it had that many miles on it.
Yeah, a buddy that's broken in that much is going to be very quick. And because remember, there's no advantage. There's nothing about the Navi that makes it like so much better because it's still running a 10-inch tire. Like, there's not an attribute about the Navi that makes it so significantly superior. Like, it's not an ABS thing. It's just all it is. It's, in fact, it's drum brakes, I don't think that it represents good value for money.
No.
Yeah. I don't think that it's the kind of thing that I'm going to be like, oh, well, I can understand the appeal of a monkey. I can understand the appeal of a Grom and everything else. But this is basically a motor scooter, not even a great motor scooter, a shitty motor scooter with some motorcycle-y bodywork on it. So, hey, if you're into it, I'm glad you're into something. I'm excited. I'm excited that you're excited, but I don't want it. There's no part of me that wants to ride it or be seen riding it. Right. And I ride some dumb shit.
Today, riding John's snowmobile made me remember that a two-stroke 300 or 400 cc thing is a fucking monster. Like when people talk about like motorcycles, they're like, oh, that's only 250. It's only a 252 stroke, or it's only a 352 stroke. And that only has a contact patch of a motorcycle tire.
Right.
Now you have a contact patch of a snowmobile tread. That shit is fucking crazy and still electric smooth. It's like two strokes have that smooth fucking like power delivery. Man, I'm still buzzing.
You should spend a couple of dollars and find someplace that will take you out and take you out on rented brand new snowmobiles, because brand new snow machines are fantastically powerful. It is It is light speed. There's no question about it. When you crack that throttle, they are gone. And it's way too much power.
Well,
And they're long wheelbase. You know, you're 140, 150 inch wheelbase. So, yeah.
Weren't we supposed
Timber
to
sleds, the mountain sleds that are coming out,
Yeah.
they have 4-inch lugs on the fucking tracks.
Yeah.
And like you could do, you know, you're talking about doing a wheelie across your yard. They're doing a wheelie in 200 inches of snow up a mountain. Like what?
Yeah.
Instant.
It's one
like
thing.
they sound
There's
like
only-
a fucking air drill running.
When you see, it used to be a big deal when a guy would take a snow machine and he'd run a snow machine across the pond, and you'd be like, wow. And now they actually have racing, jet ski racing with markers, with buoys, with snowmobiles. And the snowmobiles are turning in 20 feet of water, because that's how dominant, that's how much authority those belts have, that they are a paddle wheel. It's a boat at that point.
Yeah.
And
I
these
can send
guys
you
are-
a video of my sled. The guy just fucking just like that, and then like he's taking it down like this little river, like a little inlet, and he like sometimes he'll go up on the sandbar and then he'll just dive down into the water, just like wah.
Yeah. It defies all nautical principles.
Weren't we supposed to go, maybe Hoffert when he's not dead anymore, weren't we supposed to go to his cabin and fucking snowmobile or something? That was the whole, we were all saving up for winter to go fucking Hoffert snowmobiling, right?
Yeah, Steve's just out of commission, and you know I don't know, Winter Steve, I guess.
It's going to take him a minute to come back from this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to inspire him, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
Well, and he's also been running like a madman for the past couple of years. So
Yeah. Well, I think right now his one daughter's getting married.
Yep.
So I think that's a big handful for him that he's dealing with.
Uh-huh.
I have a second elbow now from the ice.
From
So
cracking
nice.
it on the ice.
Yeah, I had the original
we're-
elbow and then the second one over here, which is nice. So
I feel like we're gonna want armor, and I feel like we're gonna want like clothes that are gonna be able to survive getting fucking spiked.
I have got a really good, extremely thick walls, like one piece, a walls onesie. You know, it puts any Carhartt I've ever owned to shame. And for getting down into like 20 degrees, 10 degrees Fahrenheit, that thing is fantastic. And I'm going to have that, and I'm going to have like 3 layers of very thick shit underneath that.
I would suggest too, if you can order in, and I'm happy to pay for this, if you can order in some cheap bark busters, it'll save us a lot of problems of broken fucking levers. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I think I have 2 sets of bark busters at the shop right now.
Okay.
I don't know, and you know what? I believe at the shop right now too, I also have a couple of extra sets of levers and shit like that.
All right.
That I should research, or maybe grab them tomorrow on my way out.
Yeah, because like if I'm sure with spikes in the tires it's different, but without spikes in the tires, it goes from being vertical to not vertical in a less than like 0.1 second. Like you don't even have a chance to respond to what's going on.
Yeah, I think spikes is going to be the answer for everything. So I didn't get a chance to put all the spikes in my bike. I just put about 40 spikes in before I talked to Merritt and came rushing home. But but John's bike is done. He's got all 300 and some spikes in his tires. So I'm going to work tonight. I got myself a present. I'm going to go grab it real quick. Show you guys what I got myself.
Maybe we should have the first ice racing test tomorrow, since it's still going to be freezing and you have all your spikes in your tires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why my phone keeps blinking like it's trying to white balance, and I don't know.
I thought you were having a fucking party over there.
Ooh, look at that. Little.
I thought the police were there.
Yeah.
Is that a heat machine?
That is a heat machine.
Nice.
Made in Cleveland, Ohio, from Mr. Heater. And these guys are on right there on West 160th Street. And this is, I've had a couple of other versions of these portable heaters, and this runs on the 1 pound propane tanks, the smaller ones.
Cool.
And this will run about 3 hours, but as you can see, there's also adapters, so you can hook it up to your 40-pound, 20-pound unit right there. And then it has a cook stove option. You can get a cook stove option, which actually clips under it, so you can carry it like all together with the stove literally parked right underneath the device right there.
Well, if you want, I have as a present, if you want it. Before I knew what I had to buy, I ended up getting it's about a 6-gallon, which is about a 25 pound. So it's like double the size of a normal barbecue tank.
Yeah.
But I have that fucker filled and I own it. So if you need that, you can plug that in and that fucker will run for like 2 days straight.
Yeah. It was funny because I went to Home Depot where I bought that. No 1 pound bottles. Walmart, got to have it at Walmart. Went to Walmart, no 1 pound bottles. And then eventually at Lowe's, all their displays were empty. They had one little small end cap that had a couple of 1 pound bottles on it. So I grabbed a couple of 1 pound bottles and I've got the refiller thing so I can refill the 1 pounders off of the traditional propane tanks.
That's the way to do it because they charge.
Yeah, let me check my camping gear too, because I used to have I had a T valve that goes on a big tank.
Yeah.
And then 2 hoses that go down to the Coleman propane adapter.
Right on.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cool because they charge so much for those stupid little things.
The little 1 pounders are about $6 around here.
Yeah.
If you can get a good deal, you're getting 2 for $11. But the whole idea is if you have 2, but then you have the little adapter so you can constantly recharge them.
Yeah.
So if you've got a 20 pound tank at home, you can refill, 20 of these things.
Yep.
So, and they're real easy to refill. It's not rocket science. You don't have to freeze them or anything else. You just turn the big propane tank upside down so that it's feeding the liquid propane into the 1 pound tanks. And then just do that until they fill up, then weigh them. And they should weigh, the tank empty weighs about 13 ounces. So when you have a pound in it, it weighs 29 ounces. You have a little scale set up, weigh it. And when it gets close to 29 ounces, you're done. It's full,
Well, I didn't realize how accurate King of the Hill was until I got out here and had to deal with actual propane people. So I went up to Linden Propane, who is our supplier for all we run is our stove off of propane, but they still gave us like a 500 gallon or whatever. And it's not like the giant one. It's like a standard one, but it's big. But I'm talking to the guy and I swear to God, man, this dude comes up. He's like, I'm here to fulfill your propane and propane necessities. And I'm just like, holy shit, you're Hank Hill, dude. Like that's legitimately, it was great. Pretty cool.
Check test.
You're there, Chris.
Yeah.
Smith is here. Sorry, I'm late.
So Dan and Chris, could one of you guys tell us what the hell event you guys were at last night that I needed to see both of your knees?
There's mini skirts and ball sacks and all kinds of shit going on.
A little bit of shrinkage too.
We went to the Robert Burns night dinner at Market Garden Brewing Company.
Okay.
I've been to it a bunch of times. Chris and I are pretty good friends with the co-owner and brewmaster there.
Okay.
And it was the 8th annual, so it happens, right around Robert Burns' birthday, which I think is January 25th. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And for those, obviously not me, Phil, or anybody else, but for those of you, the people that don't know who this guy is, because I could probably give you a complete essay on him, but just for those guys, if you can tell us who this Burns guy is.
Well, if you ever sang Auld Lang Syne,
that's pretty much
written by Robert Burns.
Right.
Okay.
Well, he's a poet from Scotland, about the late 1700s. He's the most renowned bard of Scotland, and he is celebrated in United States and Russia and Scotland and around the world, really. So he's quite accomplished. And just to give you an idea, so at 7 p.m. they started by piping in the haggis, and then there was an address to the haggis.
Yep.
And then a Selkirk Grace, whatever that is. And then the menu had traditional haggis, a curried haggis, roasted root vegetables, shepherd's pie, mashed potatoes, shortbread. And Dan, did you get any shortbread? I did not see the shortbread.
No, I missed the shortbread.
There was a dram of Glenlivet 12 for everyone and a pint of Market Garden Beastie American Stout. So that was what you got for your ticket to get in.
Okay.
And then there were other whiskeys on selection. There's a Glenlivet 12, Balvenie Doublewood 12. There is a Lagavulin 16, Johnny Walker Black Label, Dewar's White Label, and then Dan KROMKE Backpack.
Well, and I heard Smith, you brought the whole house down with one of your jokes. Can we hear what you told?
Dan, you want to tell it or you want me to tell it?
Oh, you got to tell it.
So part of the deal is knowing your crowd. So the deal was a lot of people were getting up and reading poems by Robert Burns, and Andy Taviker, our pal, actually read a poem that included the word C-U-N-T. So that kind of set the bar.
See you next Tuesday.
Yeah. So I went up there and I said, well, I don't have anything to a poem to read, but the most famous Robert Burns joke in the world is Robert Burns walks into a bar and he walks up to two ladies at the bar and says, "Are you two ladies from Scotland?" And they tittered between themselves and looked at each other and turned around back to Robert Burns and said, "Wales." He said, "Oh, excuse me, are you two whales from Scotland?" And it got a few laughs and quite a few groans.
So I got a question, Chris. What exactly were you wearing?
What was I wearing?
It appeared that he was wearing a kilt.
That was not a kilt.
I mean,
it
looked like maybe it was a kilt or it was a tablecloth.
It was a quilt or a kilt rental from Chelsea's down on 116th and Detroit. So that's the best I could do after Dan didn't have an extra one and Phil had sold all his last year.
Yeah, mine are all just mine. I actually gave mine away. So do you know why Scotsmen wear kilts? That's because sheep can hear zippers. A mile away. That's it.
And what do you call a sheep chained to the post in the middle of Aberdeen?
I don't know.
A leisure center.
Oh,
Leisure center.
All right, folks, I'm here all week. Try the haggis.
Talk for a second about the latest Moto stories with Johnny Mac, because that's fantastic. I watched the last one that dropped. I'm very, very happy about that. That's freaking cool.
It ended up like, yeah, John killed it. I was ill prepared. Like everything. It's for me. It looks okay. It sounds like shit, but like whatever. But like people are digging it.
I'd like a higher camera angle next time.
Yeah. We got to do it better. We got to set it up. Also, we have to set up. So as much as people have enjoyed John's thing, they're like, "Where's Phil's stories?" I'm like, "Okay, we're bringing him." Like he was on vacation for fucking 2 weeks. Give me a fucking break, Jesus Christ! Like you think these people were paying for this stuff, man? Standing and doing stuff, but no, John killed it. Like we have two more coming. So John responded to two more guys. I'm going to drop them probably one in the beginning of middle of the week and then one at the end of the week. And they're a little more in depth. So we got those two. And then we got to shoot something with you. We got to get your island recap and all the other stuff going too. So.
I say we start charging them about $20 a month. It'll shut them right the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's just, it'll really feel.
This was awesome. This one guy was like, "Enough with the tips and how about some more stories?"
Right.
Because that's what I want. And I said, well, a bunch of other people wanted the tips. So I'm like, we're filling them, but like obviously we're gonna get back to the stories. He's like, "Okay, great." And I was like, "And how much did you pay to fucking thing?" He was like, "Point taken." And that was it. He was done.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Your voice gets louder when you become a Patreon member at the $20 a month level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, also, so I'm figuring this out. So right now, with the way things are going, since we've monetized, we just broke $41 on the Moto Stories bankroll. So I figure if we continue this way, we'll be able to at least buy some beer for Mid Ohio.
Right, exactly. Moto's gonna be set.
Yep.
Absolutely set.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
or some screws for those ice bikes.
Well,
Yeah, exactly. Hey, those screws are not cheap. I gotta remind you. You'd think you look at the damn thing and you swear to God, it is just a screw. There's nothing that fancy about it. You look at it, you're like, I can get these at the hardware store. This is a hex head sheet metal screw. You ever put a furnace in your life, you've dealt with a bunch of these things, right? But they're a little different, but they're not cheap, dude. It's similar in cost to 22 long rifle. So if you can put that in perspective, yeah.
Wow.
So it's about the same price point. So good to know.
Well, and you walked away when me and John were talking, but if you can finish up your bike, we could try a race tomorrow. If you got 2 bikes with studs,
Yeah.
Because the ice is thick enough. Now's the time to do it. If you want to try it, bring those fuckers out tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I'm absolutely not worried about the thickness of the ice. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about falling down on the ice and breaking my fucking hip.
Oh, no,
So,
I have 2 elbows now because of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So tonight I'll probably have a fashion show, or tomorrow morning I'll have a fashion show of coming out in full Michelin Man regalia to make sure that as little of me hits the ground as humanly possible.
Like, I was like, when we got on the ice, I'm like, worst case scenario, I fall over. And you're on a mini bike, so you're only falling a foot and a half. Still hurts. It still hurts really, really fucking bad. That ice is hard as shit, dude. There ain't no fucking question about it, man.
It's fucking ice, man. It's what happens to water when it gets too cold. Yeah. The Merritt has snowboard pants that have built-in ass armor. Like, I mean, left ass, right ass, and Main Street. So
that's to keep you out of there, dude.
But I'll probably borrow those. Yeah.
Good call. Yeah.
Yeah, not the worst idea. And then I've got an armored shirt that'll give me the elbow protection I so desperately want. And then this way,
tomorrow, if we actually do that, or you guys come over to do it, I'm going to pull out my mesh summer jacket and put it over everything that has the fucking arm guards and the shoulder guards.
Yeah, good idea. Put it under or over.
If you have something on this part of your arms and your hips, those are the 2 areas that really kind of smack when you fall. So hip armor and elbow armor, and you'll be fucking set.
Yeah, I've got my impact rigged down the basement. I could put that on and wear my riding suit from what do you call it up there in Minnesota, Duluth?
Yeah.
One thing that
of course, anybody who wants to ride my bike can ride it too. You know what I mean? Like that's what we had set up. We get 2 of them studded up,
right?
And we can do heat.
Take it out for home. Yep. Yeah, go out and have fun on it. I'm very excited about it. I was thinking about the idea of maybe altering the ice to make the ice softer, but I think nature will probably take care of that around March.
So I think about 5 or 6 laps with screwed tires, and you're going to have a different surface.
I think you're right.
You're going to have a nice, chewed up, kind of meaty, grippy surface, man.
It's
well, the one end of the pond is definitely a different surface. It was like, well, yeah, but I mean, even without doing the donuts, that one end of the pond is rougher. It's not as polished. And because when I tried to do donuts down there, I would catch an edge and then want to flip over. Like I started getting, you
know why? Because I think when it was freezing, that's where the wind comes from. So I think that was riffling the water a little bit.
All right. So Cinch, you got to go out and get yourself a fucking Zamboni. So at least we can, smooth this out.
I think we need the opposite of a Zamboni.
All you got to do is John just has to do donuts with the fucking snowmobile, and it's a Zamboni as fuck. It was so smooth where you did the donuts, you could not walk on it. You couldn't even stand on it. Like, it was like fucking, like ice. It was beyond ice. It was fucking
like ice.
Yeah. It was
Zamboni
like ice.
Jones.
It was like fucking ice.
It was like fucking ice, man.
It was, but it was crazy how slick it is.
I
It's all
predict in a very
fucking
short.
icy and everything. It's all fucking icy and shit.
I
Like,
predict
you
in
know
a very short period of time we're going to be dragging strange objects behind these vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah. We have.
Well, I was already looking at all kinds of blow up toys and stuff. I had this one. I called on this one. It was a UFO, and it was like you could stand up in it like a chariot or sit down, and it was like,
Really?
oh, but I missed it. Yeah.
oh shit.
Oh,
that's
it's called
cool.
the Wake Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great.
Well, and also, if you guys actually do come tomorrow, I think what I'll do is I'll drag all the boxes from our move out. We can have a 50-foot bonfire of boxes too.
It's a good idea too.
Yeah, we got that too.
I like everything about these ideas.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows? We may never actually start the bikes. You know, a little antifreeze, a nice cocktail, maybe a good fire. Yeah. So I'm bringing my van. I'm going to have 2 bikes in it. I'll have a couch I can take out of it or seats I can take out of it. And then I'm bringing my little heater thing. So whatever. Yeah.
No, we'll be good.
It'll be good.
Well, so I know we talked a little bit about like, so at the AIM thing that nobody went to, was there anything that was mind blowing that you've seen or heard or anything?
Yes. Two things that I think absolutely need to be reported. The first thing is, had I gone to the AIM Expo, I know people that went there that took their riding gear and whatnot for all the motorcycle test rides and stuff. Because you guys have been to the AIM that we had in Columbus.
Yeah.
I rode everything. I rode the Gold Wings. I rode all the bikes. I rode the Smart Pillion, the Sharp Pillion, the Vit Pillion, all of them. I rode them all. And that AIM Expo in Columbus, you could ride everything there was. They had those weird 3-wheeled cars there, those little roadster cars. Very cool. Like Falklands or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess at this AIM Expo, they had no test riding whatsoever. And also they had some flat track racing that was scheduled to happen, I think on Wednesday or Thursday night, some flat track racing that apparently also did not happen whatsoever. So I'm going to let you guys listen to the Misfits podcast because Liza had a nonplussed experience with the 100 most important women in motorcycling, their symposium that doesn't sound like it was the crowd pleaser everyone was expecting. So I'll let her cover that. That's her thing. That's her jam. But yeah, I've heard it from a few different people that maybe it wasn't to die for, or maybe to COVID for. Yeah. Yeah. So ultimately, Chris, remember we talking about this a couple of weeks ago? It's like when we like the idea of going to the AIM show and going to the gun show and everything else. And I was like, it took me, it was a fucking battle, man. I felt like shit. Liza called me 10 o'clock our time, 7 o'clock their time. Like, where the fuck are you? You know, are you at the airport? Did you land yet? What the shit? And I was like, no, I didn't come. I'm not there.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that they were saddened by that.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah.
I'd like to think that took some wind out of their sails. So,
Well, and especially like they're like, as much as we're trying to adhere to COVID protocol and stuff, they're like 1,000 times more adamant about everything. So I can't believe that she actually went to that show. Like, to me, that
yeah. I mean, they probably have an intricate system of like, you know, John blows on Jim and Jim blows on Liza, and that keeps the COVID from landing on any of them. I'm sure that Liza has a well-organized system for not getting COVID. And fuck COVID, you know, it's Liza. Liza's going to tell COVID where to go. Yeah. I don't think COVID has a chance. So
Liza had little, like her COVID fucking molecule or whatever, just had little pink dildos instead of spikes.
got little dicks on, little rubber dicks stuck to it. Yeah. Yep, I get that. So yeah, I'm not sad I didn't go. The universe looked out for me. I was able to cancel my ticket for no money and cancel my hotel for no money.
Beautiful.
So, great. Fucking awesome.
Beautiful.
We'll go next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
No reason to rush into it.
So it's January, well, almost end of January, New Year. What with the shop, are you starting to have to think about ordering things? Like what is the process going on with the shop right now?
We're doing the biggest order that we have to make, of course, is through Piaggio. You know, Piaggio Group America. That's Piaggio is Piaggios, Vespas, Aprilias, and Moto Guzzi's. We are considering bringing Moto Guzzi back. We're in talks right now. We're in negotiations on that at the shop at the moment because we are considering bringing Guzzi back. So
that would be very bad for the wallet.
I want my Guzzi back, Guzzi back, Guzzi back.
I totally want my Guzzi back, Guzzi back, Guzzi back.
Where's the closest Guzzi dealer around here?
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So that's close.
Yeah.
And I've been sending, I mean, that's our friend. So that's Enzo Miller. And he's a fucking great guy. Like, you talk about two dealers. I respect and worship everything he does. He does a fantastic job. I have no problem sending customers to him. He's never let me down, not once ever. So I don't have a problem with that. But having one dealer in the entire goddamn state of Ohio, and it's in Cincinnati, it's not enough. And so we've given it a cooling off period. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I did 168 Vespas last year. So we did, I think the shop, we did 428 bikes.
Nice.
So 428 beats our previous record of 399, year of our Lord, 2009. Blessed be almighty high gas prices. And very, very easy credit terms. Credit terms so easy, it totally changed the whole credit market and the housing market for the entire country. But
is Moto Guzzi approaching you, or are you approaching them, or? Well,
this is a game of what they call that a Mexican standoff, right?
Yeah.
So the deal is, anyone has to do if they want to be a Moto Guzzi dealer is to have a $500,000 line of credit with Wells Fargo, to have an established motorcycle dealership, and to order probably something on the line of 60 bikes.
Ooh.
That's all.
I don't like that.
That's a lot of bikes, man.
It's a lot of fucking bikes.
Do they tell you what kind of, like, it's like, I know you told me about like Vespa, like if you want to get this, and this, you have to take like the 50cc ones that aren't going to sell. So do they make you take a bunch of shit that you can't actually sell?
You could order 60 bikes that and remember, you're forecasting what you're going to sell in December in January.
Right.
So you have to have a 12-month crystal ball. But then if they decide in March that they need you to have the purple V7, because that's representative stock, then even if you've already ordered 60 bikes, they're sending you a purple V7.
I'll take it.
What if you needed, like, because of the area, you needed like 10, the 80 TT85s or whatever the fuck they're called, the adventure bikes. Can you get 10 of those, or do they make you take 2 of these, 10 of those, 5 of those?
There's going to be what they call representative stocks. There's going to be representative stocks. So you're going to take 2 of these and 2 of these and 2 of these and 2 of these and 2 of these. Like, that's the way they work. The weirdest thing is, this is the one that drives people crazy. In the state of Ohio, 49cc bikes are just fucking useless. I mean, there's no reason anybody would have to buy a 49cc bike, because in other states, you can ride it without a license, you can ride it without insurance, and it's a tourist thing, so the roads don't go over 25 miles anyway, so okay, great. But in Ohio, you need insurance and you need a full motorcycle endorsement, and all of our roads are 35 miles an hour or over. So a 49cc bike in Ohio is unfucking sellable. It'd be unsellable if it was $1,199. Imagine if it's $4,500. And that's the situation, is they're making me take as many 49cc Vespas as they're making the guys in Miami take 49cc Vespas. And that's the bullshit. That's what's unfair, is because it's just one of those situations. It's like, it's as if they made the Home Depot in Miami, Florida, take 200 snowblowers.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, can you can you call, like, you have friends at a dealership down there, and you're like, hey, listen, I know you guys can sell these. I'll give you 6 of these fucking 50cc's, and you give me 3 of the 150 or whatever. Like, can you do that or no?
No.
Oh my God, that's stupid.
Yeah, it is. It's insanely stupid. Yeah. It's epically stupid. But every year there's a battle with Piaggio. Piaggio is legendary for having battles with their dealers. So we're going through our battle that we're going to go through with Piaggio this year. So we'll see how that shakes out. And how that shakes out will have a lot of bearing on whether or not we decide to take Moto Guzzi back. So, yeah.
I hope you do, because there's a couple of Gootsies I'd like to get. You know, like
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. There's a couple of Gootsies I'd like to spend some time riding. The problem right now is Piaggio seems to have misplaced about $60,000 of mine. So they can't find it. They don't know where it went.
I mean, that happens. I mean, I do it all the time.
Yeah, right.
I reach in my wallet. I'm like, fuck, 60 grand. I had it yesterday. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not me.
So
I know where my $12 is.
Yeah,
exactly. So right now, that's a problem that we're thinking about. Like, do we really want to get deeper in when that's the reason we let Moto Guzzi go for the very first time was creative accounting, creative principles of accounting, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's all the stuff like that most people don't know about. Like when they get mad at dealers for charging this or that, they don't know how much bullshit you guys have to do to put up with, you know, all that kind of shit, you know? It starts
with a 14% profit margin. So you'd start with that. And then remember that if your bikes are on the floor for more than 90 days or 120 days, you might be paying, 8, 10, 12% interest on those bikes. So your 14% profit margin goes away pretty fucking quick. So yeah, running a dealership, not fucking fun. I mean, it's you got to be fast. I mean, you got to have your hustle on. Like you got to move all the time.
Are these companies aware of like regional climate? Like, do they know that Phil at ClevelandMoto has winter? Like, I mean, seriously, like
no, they don't.
They don't care, huh?
Yeah, you want to know what our market share was for Piaggio?
I mean, yes,
108%.
Wow.
So that shouldn't exist. Like you shouldn't be able to be 108% of anything. There's just no way that shouldn't happen under any circumstances. But yet we're 108%. Like our market share in Cleveland is 108%. Go figure, man. So of the entire, motor scooter segment that is being sold in Cleveland, we're selling 108% of it.
Wow, that's great.
You think that would earn me a giant slice of leave me the fuck alone, but it doesn't.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So you'd think I'd have like Kevlar underpants at this point, but I don't. So yeah.
Well, if you did, you want to bring them tomorrow, that'd be better.
No, they're right up on my dick all the time. Yeah. So that's just 100% goofy.
Yeah. So, hey,
so I have a new candidate in case we did want to do the Sleepy Cinch Memorial Rod and Gun Club.
Yeah.
Maybe we wouldn't call it Memorial. Maybe we could just call it the Sleepy Cinch Rod and Gun Club.
Yeah, I prefer not to be dead if that's an option.
So here's a little tip I bet you didn't know. Yeah. Our friend Stefan Was from Porco would love to come and help us relocate some clay birds.
Oh, excellent.
Cool. Yeah. I think that's really exciting.
Yep.
Yeah. So I know John's got his trap. I know I've got at least one hand trap, or maybe more. And I still have.
Said if we're shooting anything, he's got his dad is an NRA instructor, and they have every possible launching device and fucking whatever. And if anybody wants to shoot high power shit, they have a whole fucking like sand dump fucking thing where you can shoot fucking 50 cal into it and it doesn't do anything.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
There's that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. So you are looking for a 12 gauge bird gun, right?
I definitely want a shotgun. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Stefan is looking for a 12 gauge bird gun as well, because when I told him the idea of going out and breaking birds, he said he was going to bring his judge.
Huh. Nice. I'll do it. I want to try that.
There's one person here that knows what a judge is.
Well, I have a 410 bolt action that I was shooting with one hand.
What?
And it was actually surprisingly not bad.
Oh, really?
Because it's so small and it's like you can one-hand it. Pow.
The fact that it's a bolt action is hilarious.
Yeah. 3-round magazine.
3-round magazine bolt action for a 410 shotgun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the status? What's the status with ammunition these days? Because I can't find any 30-30.
Yeah.
Or 7.62 or 6.5. So
that's going to be hard to get.
Thanks, Obama. Sorry.
What I've learned, you can still get number 6 and number 7 shot pretty cheap and pretty easy. So for shooting clay birds, you're fine. That's not a problem. It's not even expensive. But yeah, some of the other stuff, it's pretty fucking pricey right now. So
Well, what about our Patreons? Can't they skip the $20 and send us a couple of cases of 30-30 or something like that?
I'm sure they've just got that shit hanging around. Yeah.
I bet they do.
Yeah,
That's why
some
we can't
federal
find
core
it.
locked, just hanging around from the 60s or 70s. You could
Yeah.
ship that out.
Yeah.
Why are you leaving for 30-30 ammo? Are you going out to hunt deer?
Just targets.
Yeah, you just have a 30-30 hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of stuff. That is the thing right now where it's like you want to be a gun guy, you want to get into guns and have fun with guns. The problem with being a gun guy right now is it is cheaper to buy a gun than it is to buy the gas you put in the gun.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Speaking of guns, did you guys see the police report from Ravenna? They had a fucking ATF FBI fucking sting operation where some like felon dude was known to have weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
So they ended up confiscating like 75 different fucking guns and like all this shit. But the best part of the whole thing was the comment section. So like this guy was a gun fag, but he was doing it wrong. So all these dudes are commenting like, who the hell puts a bipod on a fucking pistol 110? Like, and so like they were tearing apart. Instead of being upset about the fucking up thing or everything, they were all judging the guy's weapons and like dogging all the accessories that they had on this stuff.
Look, it's not that he got caught. It's
Right.
not that he got 75 guns confiscated. It's not that he probably had a felony on his report card and he's not allowed to have any guns.
Right.
It's none of that stuff.
Nope.
It's that his guns were dumb.
Yeah.
That he had
Don't
dumb
put a
guns.
bipod on that fucking gun. Who the fuck? No wonder he got caught. He's an idiot. Like,
Oh, I've got some really stupid optics on top of like AK-47s. That there's no way those optics should be on top of that thing. There's just no way. It's like a one shot and done kind of optic on top of an AK-47. Because when AK-47 fires, it's just chaos. Like there's no two pieces of the gun that match each other. And when you fire them, they all just kind of clankety clank all over the place. And anything you have resembling optics just gets the ride of its life.
you got the
So-
shit where like you're telling your buddy like one click because the wind
Yeah.
changed direction, but meanwhile,
No way. No. It's the optics on an AK are just hold it up over the berm and go.
yeah.
just drop, dump the mag and pop your head up and see where they went. And then get back down again and load another mag. Yeah. You don't need optics. It's not meant for that. but it is fun. I mean, it's silly. So yeah, I'd like to do more of that. But I feel like the ammo that I purchased 2 years ago now that is now aged, it's now getting to be vintage.
You got seasoned ammo. You need that.
Well, I've been keeping it on a boat at sea.
For the record,
In a bourbon barrel.
No, moonshiners prove the fact that fucking putting booze on a boat makes it way better. It ages it 5 times as fast. So my fucking thing about liking the whiskey on the fucking boat holds up. Thank you.
Well, you have a
All
pond
you
now,
can prove
Sleepy.
is that it costs more.
Dude, they say that the air temperature changing drastically, the salt content in the air, and the constant rocking of the boat helps the fucking liquor soak up the fucking barrel juice. All the fucking burnt shards and all that stuff.
Who told you that?
It
Yeah,
was
most-
all moonshiners, man.
Most people don't believe that, though. Only Cinch believes that shit.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. You
Dude.
put some fucking whiskey on a boat and it's fucking better, man. Look, he's got the boat whiskey. Hell yeah.
No, it's not boat whiskey.
No.
No, I can't read it. It isn't.
Calumet.
No, but this tastes good than the original way. No boats are required.
Well, it tastes better if it was on a boat, so just think of that.
Well, there's no
You got a
salt
joke
water.
or what?
There's no salt water in Kentucky.
Well, that's why they've been doing it wrong for fucking 200 years.
Yeah.
They fucking put them on boats.
Well, you've got a pond now, dude. So just
I am. I'm gonna put a fucking barrel and float that shit for fucking all summer.
put a little boat out. Get yourself a little rowboat. Put it out in the middle of the pond. Tie a rope to one end.
My
And
neighbor,
rock the shit out of it.
makes moonshine. He gave me a little bit of moonshine. So if he gives me a big jar of it, then I'll boat age it on my fucking pond on a quarter scale fucking sloop. and I'll have that bitch anchored and just floating there.
A quarter scale sloop.
Well, you need to get an oak cask the size of a mason jar too.
Right.
Yeah, that's the quarter
Really
scale
tiny oak
cast.
cask.
It's all coming together. It's all coming together.
Do you know one of our favorite bartenders? His name, you guys all know John Bernard, right?
Yeah.
So you all know John. Well, we just made this trip. We made this pilgrimage up to Max's South Seas Tiki Hideaway, right? In Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Grand Rapids, yeah.
Very cool. And so we all have to go there at some point because it's undoubtedly, it's not just the best tiki bar I've been to in my life. It's the best 4 tiki bars I've been to in my life because it's insane. They made so much money with Hopcat that they can afford to lose a lot of money on this tiki bar. And I'm going to help them. So we went up there, but we discovered that we've just got it wrong. John Bernard is Saint Bernard. He needs to have a bourbon barrel, a brandy barrel on a neck chain, like Flava Flav.
Yeah.
And then just like the old Warner Brothers cartoon, just stop somewhere and it folds in half and there's a little bar inside. He just does a little shaker thing and it's all built inside the folding rum barrel.
I love it.
And we're going to make him wear that on a gold chain around his neck.
Yeah.
And he can be Saint John Bernard.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. So, I mean, this doesn't apply to most of the people watching the podcast and certainly not any of us.
Right.
So Hoffert.
However,
so Hoffert destroyed my wife and she doesn't drink anymore because she went to New York and he destroyed her. So she quit drinking. So she hasn't drank in a year and she got all her something. So Porco now offers all their cocktails in a non-alcoholic version, but he has sourced all this shit so they taste the same.
Yes,
so
exactly.
She was super excited. And so now we can go on a date night and go and she can actually get something completely enjoyable or whatever.
Right.
And I can get hammered and then she can drive home.
Yeah. Porco has done an amazing job since Stefan's gone sober. They've done a great job of sourcing in non-alcoholic versions of all of our standard boozes. So they can build most of their menu in a non-alcoholic version of it. So
and that opens up.
well, they can also do vegan and gluten free.
Right, but the thing is when you think of a tiki bar,
I'm bullshitting you.
No, he can't. Stefan's always been vegan friendly, but what I'm saying is that like a tiki bar is known for fucking booze and get whatever. This opens it up for a lot of people that like really wanted that experience, but were afraid to go and try to ask. And like, you can't get the real thing. You have to get some shitty, like, here's your Shirley Temple or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and now you don't have to. That's really, really fucking cool.
That is cool.
So Phil, for the trip up to Grand Rapids, I think you need to reacquire the bus.
No, I have the van. So the van can hold up to 12 people. More if you take all the seats out. And so
And we just lay in the back like logs or what?
we brought back easily 2,000 pounds of tiki wood. Like these things were all 8 feet long and all 24 inches in diameter, and we just kept loading it into the van. And the van rode so nice the whole way back from Grand Rapids because I mean it's a E350. It's a fucking big ass van.
Were you
so
on
it was
75
so nice.
just fucking floating on that fucking bullshit 75?
You couldn't feel it. It didn't exist. It was great.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about this particular place is where the bar is, Grand Rapids. It is the commercial furniture capital of America, by the way. Look it up. Or industrial furniture capital of America. But
What the hell is industrial furniture?
that metal shit that they had at the office where you got recruited.
Where they didn't hire me?
The very cold desk they made you lean over. Yeah, that's it.
Ouch.
Yeah, those metal Aramco chairs from the '60s that if the chair fell over, it'd break your foot off. Yeah, with the big wheels on the bottoms. But so right next to this place, there is a bar called Stella that is amazing. So and this place is 2 levels with 3 independently interesting bars inside of there and an amazing food menu. So we got to take it. It's a schlep. It's 5 hours away from my house. But that being said, road trip, go out there and go check the place out. There's a Marriott hotel stumbling distance away. So,
Well, throw it on the calendar. Let's do it.
that's what I'm saying. That's an overnight. So the guys at Porco we're trying to pick a weekend kind of thing. So if you don't want to do an us trip and you want to get in on a Porco trip, if you can summarily prove that you're not infected with something, rock on,
I'm clean, baby. I'm clean.
Yeah. So, as far as I know, I just went to Home Depot. So
Yeah. I don't know, man. Smith and Dan were out with their shorts off last night, as we talked before. So we don't know, but they were whoring around last night. We got to find out.
they don't have COVID. They have low bid. It's something you get just from the waist down. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
They picked a good night to wear fucking kilts, though. It was like -4 last night.
Sure. Perfect night for kilts.
So, Dano, how late did you guys stay there? You and Andy?
It wasn't that late.
Okay,
I think I was home by 10:30 or so.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I left early, but I was driving, so I couldn't quite imbibe with the level of KROMKE and Vikram.
Well, Diane was nice enough to drop me off and pick me up, and we gave Andy a ride home too.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, he was kind of like, he's like, no, I got to stop. I'm done with the whiskey. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, give me some more whiskey.
Yeah. Well, that was a hell of a good bottle that turned up there over in the corner. I don't know how it got the hell in there, but I thought it had a nice little peat profile.
Just fell into my backpack.
Yeah.
Was that the Glen Gooley 12?
No, I had a bottle of Loch Lomond 18.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. So thank you for that, young man.
The Tiki mug stuff. So I saw a post the other day where it's a limited edition Devo Power Helmet Tiki Skull mug. And it was done for the Beachland for something, and then it didn't happen. And so they were selling them, but each one is $240 or something for these.
Yeah, that's about par. So to kind of bring you into speed on this, this one that I got. So this is a thing called a frigate bird. A frigate bird is a type of bird, and so this is from Max's South Seas, but this is from a tiki bar that closed, and this is the bird that was out on the top of the tiki bar. At the Kona Kai in Philadelphia. Okay. And Max, they're set up at Max's in Grand Rapids to do all their own tiki mugs using a 3D printer, resin 3D printer, and scanner. So their time to production is very short, but they're not making them in China where labor is 18 cents an hour. They're making them in Grand Rapids. And so this big bastard right here, and this is a big bastard, is $200. So that gives you an idea. And so it's not uncommon for these really short, really limited runs to be real expensive. Wow. And a lot of work does go into it. And what I like you to check out on the bottom of this one is kind of special. I don't know if you can see that, but it says it's one of one. Oh. So that kind of gives you an idea of the rarity of this particular mug. So this was a test. And so having mugs that are one of 500 is pretty cool, but that one's one of one. So when we were there and Stefan's buying the world out of this guy, I said, I don't really buy tiki mugs anymore unless I drink out of them or I have a story to tell about it. Pretty good story coming here and seeing your entire collection and buying parts of it. And I said, so pick me out a tiki mug that you think has the best story to it. And I let Mark go crazy, and he went and he's like, well, this is the one, because literally there's one of these. So it was great. So really cool mug to have, one of one. So that's pretty neat.
Cool. That's really cool.
And in my collection, there aren't too many mugs that I have that are one of one. So it's that's a tough one.
Did you bring any back from the islands?
No, we didn't. So we didn't find a single tiki mug on the island that we were fond of. What we did bring back was these big plastic daiquiri glasses, like hurricane glasses from the mountaintop, which is where they do the banana daiquiris.
Yeah.
And they're just so cheesy. I mean, they come in like one of 47 different colors, and they're plastic. They're virtually indestructible. But because we're on the motorcycle for the whole fucking time, I didn't want to carry around a Tiki mug in my, pack. And meanwhile, Tiki there on the islands is just kind of like, oh, well, I guess they're all Tiki bars, because that's the prevailing wind is just blowing painkillers, across from the British Virgin Islands. So, yeah. Tiki there is, you don't want to go there and be like a Tiki aficionado. You don't want to be a Tiki purist, if there is such a thing. It's better to just be a sloppy drunk, and you'll get more out of it. Turn off the Don Ho, turn on the Kenny Chesney, and you'll be just fine. Yeah.
So what did you find out? You got to ride what, the KLX300 after you turned in the shitty scooters, right?
Yeah. We'll say it. The bike should be called the KL Excellent. It is fantastic.
It was the 300, right? The newer
300cc, the KL Excellent. It is just fucking great. We'll do more. We'll do a deep dive into it. Maybe we'll get Merritt there. That would be the best.
Yeah, we'll do the motor stories with that. That'd be great.
Yeah, we'll do a motor stories with Dr. Waters, because she had the back seat, so she got to see a lot of stuff I didn't see.
Yeah.
And she also kept me from dying on 9 occasions where she went left, because you have to drive on the left side of the road there.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes we'd come out of a place and I would just instinctively, even in parking lots, I'd be on the right-hand side. I'd be favoring the right. And it's easy to just slip up. It's easy to forget.
Yeah, and I found it really easy to do. Like if you have to stop and turn around and go the other direction, you immediately go to the wrong side of the road.
Yeah. Oh, a U-turn? Fuck yeah, Dan. A U-turn is like guaranteed. I'm coming across the line and I'm going to be the wrong way at traffic on a U-turn. I missed my spot. Okay, let me do this real quick. Yeah, right up on the wrong side of the road. So yeah, it's a little goofy. So, but that bike, no shit. Like, and there's nothing about a KLX 300 that's like groundbreaking. There's nothing about it that's special or odd or exotic.
But it works together, right? Like everything kind of, yeah.
Its balance was just great. Not too much power to be like some crazy, KTM type of torquey, peaky power band that's no fun to ride. This thing was all too happy to. What
part of Mecklefresh is that?
I have no idea. I mean, oh my God, I can't tell whether it's his mouth or did the phone fall into a fold?
Is his wife nearby? What is going on over there?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not good. That's not good. That's like some strange Japanese art or something. Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah.
It's the best side of the Bombardier that we've seen yet.
I mean, dude, that might get us demonetized. That looks like some shit that would be on like fucking reported somewhere or something.
Look, it's my armpit. Hold on, wait.
I guess John is a giant pussy. Look at him.
Just so fluffy.
And he's shoring like a fucking goat in April.
That's the Manscaped commercial right there.
Yeah. Speaking of Manscaped, so last week on the episode of the Righteous
Gemstones, there is a reference to Manscaped where John Goodman was cutting his nuts all up with the manscaping tool. And I thought, I laughed so hard at that episode that I almost puked. That's how
it's called Gemstones?
No,
the Righteous Gemstone.
The Righteous Gemstones.
I don't know what that is yet.
It's Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Bound or Eastbound and Down.
Yeah, I know.
McGuire.
Right.
Yeah, it's his newest thing where they are the whole family of like a mega church. They are the family that runs a mega church. Okay.
Right.
It's got John
evangelical Christians.
Yeah, all evangelical Christians, but they own a compound where every single kid because all the kids are like 30, 35, and 40, right?
Okay.
So each one of them has their own mansion on this giant palatial estate and stuff. And it is just exactly what you, but the thing is it's got John Goodman. It's got the one dude from Workaholics. Like the cast is sick.
Okay. So they spend some money on the people.
Oh, dude. And it is.
Well, the writing is very clever and,
cool.
and it's a lot of fun. I mean, you watch a couple of episodes. They're into what, season 2 or 3?
Yeah, this is season 2 now. The guy, remember the guy from Justified? He's got the weird name, but he's got
Timothy Olyphant.
What's that?
Timothy Olyphant.
Something like that. Like he's just he's got the
Who
teeth
cares?
and whatever.
He always plays a cowboy. Oh no, you're talking about Wade Boggins.
Yeah.
Wade Goggins. Yeah.
Yeah, Goggins. So they brought him in
Goggins.
as a fucking crazy tanned white-haired preacher with oversized teeth.
I'm sure that's great.
I almost pissed myself again, dude. It is fucking brilliant, man. Brilliant. And it's dark. It's dark humor too. It's not all fucking cherries and happiness. Like
That's cool.
in the first series, it was just kind of like adult humor, but nothing that my daughter would notice or anything.
Right. You get
So
away
she
with
was
it.
in the room watching it, and all of a sudden the guy goes to a club and he's in a rubber suit with his dong hanging out, and girls are flicking it. I'm like, you leave the room, quick, move, go. Like they get dark quick, pretty interestingly.
I don't. That's for me the off season, and we're talking like the TV stuff. But for people who are currently, if you're watching Boba Fett and you don't know what scooters are, and you're not familiar with what mods are and that kind of shit.
Well, we brought that up last week. That turned into a whole thing on the internet now.
It's only gotten deeper. The cuts have only gotten deeper. They are now officially referring to this group of people as like, oh, I've got the mods downtown checking on it. So they're using the term, mods as mods. So so that's very fucking cool.
Where do you think that came from? Somebody said that one of the guys from Star Wars has a huge fucking scooter fetish.
I mean, George Lucas has always put scooters in some fascination or some form into his stuff. There's been no accident about Darth Maul and various different characters who've ridden on scooters in the thing. So that's for real. Would you guys like to have a little feedbacks from some of our Patreons?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So John Bonesteel, of course, as you remember, we love the name John Bonesteel.
Yeah.
When we were talking about the grilled cheese food cart, which is the $1 grilled cheeses, his wife has come up with a name for the grilled cheese food cart, and he'd like to call the grilled cheese food cart grilled cheese or fuck off. Which I don't see a problem with that. A $1 grilled cheese sandwich, yeah, it's a grilled cheese or fuck off. I'm totally okay with that.
Yep.
No problem. That is perfect. I dig that one a lot. Nick Childs. So Nick Childs has got a tech question for Sleepy.
Oh.
Where do you prefer to post the podcast audio? And where is it usually most up to date? I have Google Podcasts since it came with my phone, but I noticed it's like 3 episodes behind, and I'm always itching for more episodes. Spotify doesn't appear to be as up to date as YouTube either, but I just want the audio. I can imagine Google probably doesn't make it super easy to post things, considering they have had 13 different messaging platforms that have mostly been abandoned. Now, I'm just going to address that. We use Buzzsprout to host our podcast, and as soon as Sleepy puts up the video, when the video goes up, he shoots me over the MP3 file, and I put the MP3 file up on Buzzsprout. Mm-hmm. So it comes up technically first on YouTube, and then it comes up on Buzzsprout, which feeds out to all of the various podcast platforms.
Right. So did you hear about So did you hear about the Spreaker thing at all?
No.
Like, not speaker, it's Spreaker. So supposedly it's a way, I think it's iHeart or somebody else fucking around and going different. And they're trying to make a place to host it. But like, I think it incorporates like a Patreon kind of thing and everything. And it says like, you'll be able, like, it's like if you want to quit your day job and make your podcast into your reality, Spreaker might be the place to do it. So
well, there are 93 million podcasts as of 7 minutes ago.
yeah, I know.
So, you know,
But there's only one of
everybody
us, and we're the best at what we do. So, you know, I'm just saying.
fine. Yeah, exactly. But the point being is, yeah, people have acknowledged that podcasting is a very viable form. A local politician tried desperately to get him on to endorse his platform.
Yeah. That's so weird. Does he not know
fucking
that
weird.
he can't run for political office after being on this podcast?
He wants to help. He's running for Congress, but he wants to help or have our podcast be a platform for his ideas that will help him get elected to Congress. Now, I've done some research. I've looked at the guy. I've watched some videos. I listened to his podcast, and I absolutely love the guy. I have no problems with what he's doing, other than I don't want our podcast to be any more political than it already is. So
very little. We don't
just don't need it. We just don't need politics as
well. And also, I mean, like, nobody's coming here to hear our political. They all know we're a bunch of idiots. Nobody, you know, we don't know anything about it.
Hey! Speak for yourself, there,
Okay,
Slim Jim.
All right, Dr. Smith. Sorry.
So, also Nick, so after the whole platform thing, he says now he's got an actually interesting question. He just hit 10,000 miles on that KTM 500 Supermoto, and he was wondering what to expect when pulling the top end apart for a check. The bike has been wonderful to me, and I figured I owe it a look over. Yeah, you're damn straight you do at 10,000 miles for sure. I bought it with 3,000 miles on it, and I haven't had to adjust the valves just once that you know of. They are all still in spec. I change the oil every 1,500 to 2,000 miles with Yamalube 10W40 4T oil, since it's like $3 more per gallon than Rotella. Okay, that's fine. The main concern I have is that I put the fuel tuner on too late, and it ran dangerously lean for too long without. Although it runs great still, there's quite a few posts on the 500 501 Facebook page of people with 850 hours on their stock motors. He's got 320 on his at 10,000 miles. 3 out of 5 stars. Great bike. So you got 10,000 miles on the top end of your KTM 501 or 500, which is, a fantastic motor, no doubt, but it is a high performance engine. And at that point, I would expect, unless, like you said, you got the motor at 3,000 miles, unless the valves were just done prior to you getting the bike, which is pretty unlikely because remember, doing valves is spending money or spending time. And usually people would say, I'm going to let the next owner enjoy that process. I'm going to sell this bike before I have to embark upon that process for myself.
That's why Ducatis are all for sale at like 14,000 miles.
14,000 miles, give or take. Yeah. Especially the older ones, because they made it, you squeaked past 10,000 miles and you're like, okay, 10,000, but they probably left a little overage in there. So about 13 or 14,000, that's when you see all those Ducatis being sold.
Time to get rid of it.
Because they're 4,000 over the valve adjustment interval, and people think of it as a ticking time bomb.
Right.
So yeah, at 10,000 miles, well, the good news is it sounds like you checked them. It sounds like you inspected them. So if you inspected them and like you said, they're well within spec, awesome. That's what you want. If they're within spec, then don't fuck with it. You're good. You're golden. Enjoy it. Ride the bike. Check it again in 3,000 more miles or 5,000 more miles, whatever you feel comfortable with. Yep. But that motor is a pretty fucking spicy motor. So your oil doesn't matter whether you're using Rotella or Yamalube or Yamabond or whatever you want to use at that point. Rock on. You're not going to hurt anything. So that's fine. But and your hours are kind of where they should be for your miles. So it doesn't sound like you're off the beaten path there at all. So it's a good motor. So it's it's been used in tons of fucking bikes. So that's a good sign.
It's weird that KTM has that crossover too of like most of the time with most adventure bikes, you're not really talking about hours unless it's a straight dirt bike.
Sure, it's a street bike.
The 690s, the 501s, the 701s, they kind of have that crossover where they have the hour meter and the mileage.
Absolutely.
That is kind of interesting that what you said is that like if it has 56,000 miles on it, but it only has 400 hours, that motherfucker was flying. Like you kind of like,
absolutely,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something to think.
I totally agree. And I think, I, I completely agree that 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 motor's a good motor, and yeah, if you've been checking it, rock on. You've got nothing to worry about. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about the miles or about the hours. That's fucking badass.
I mean, he owns a KTM, and if you own one, you
Yeah.
know they're high maintenance bikes. Like you can't neglect a KTM, and you know, so if it's running that nice or something, he must have been up on his maintenance, because they like that's the one thing about KTMs, when like if you neglect them, they will fail. They'll fuck.
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did you know that Liza's doing some kind of kooky numbnuts challenge, basically encouraging people to sit on a motorcycle for as long as they can, literally sitting in one place, not riding the bike, just sitting on the bike. Helmet on, center stand if you have one, I guess. And then they're going to do it, and whoever sits on the bike the longest gets $1,000. You could probably sit on a bike for a long time. And apparently they're going to do things to simulate road conditions, like spray water on you and shit like that. So you might want to have proper gear, even though it's, January. I think they're doing it like January 28th or January 29th. Go to the Misfits to find out. But Matthew Schuler is one of our podcast listeners, and he is going to be doing, we're sponsoring him. So Matthew Schuler is going to be doing the Numbnuts Challenge is what it's called. I sent Matthew a modular helmet. So I sent him a modular helmet, put a ton of fucking ClevelandMoto stickers on it and shit like that. And so he's got that. And he says, got the helmet today. Hell yeah, it fits great. It's perfect for the job at hand. He vacuumed the hair out, hit it with the Febreze, cleaned the blood off. It was great. And cleaned the snot off the visor. He's ready to rock and roll. Thanks for that and the many stickers. I gave him a ton of stickers. And I also said, make sure to leave those everywhere in Santa Cruz. As promised, see below confirmation of my thank you gift to the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. So he made a contribution. So because I sent him out a helmet for this event, he made a donation to the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. How fucking cool is that?
That's cool.
I mean, that's immense right there. Good for him. Fucking awesome. So yeah, he made a donation to the Cleveland Food Bank on our behalf, and he's wearing a really bitchin' helmet. So I would very happy. I'm going to post the pictures of him wearing our ClevelandMoto Fulmer modular helmet. I'll post it up to the thing, and I put a little right above his head. I put some stickers that say "fuck knock." So want to make sure we're representing. So that'll be a fun one for him. And so yeah, I'll put some pictures of that up in the show notes so people can see it and check it out. Cool. And I think that might be it at the moment for current Patreon. We've got some new Patreon members, and they're joining at the $10 and $20 level so they can get that kick-ass party line. And we've been getting some people chiming in on the party line. I brought my phone so we can read our email. It has been our buddy Millersport, our buddy Sean. He has been digging. He's digging the Mandalorian or the Boba Fett. He's just rocking the shit out of that. He's absolutely digging the crap out of that. But he's the one who posted up the videos of the dudes ice racing today at Buckeye Lake.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I put some of those videos out, and that looks like fucking fun.
They're like flat out fifth gear fucking.
Oh my God, they're hauling ass. I mean, they're just on fire. So the next one I've got is, let me see here. Give me a second. Josh from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. So Josh has sent us stuff before. Remember, I think Josh had the Harley Davidson at AMA Vintage Days. He bombed around and helped everybody kind of tear down their camps and shit.
Oh yeah.
So super nice guy. He says, we were talking about some fun stuff about pay-to-play features like Tesla does, and how Zero's doing pay-to-play features on their electric motorcycles. And so he writes back, after I got back from my vacation, said, sounds like it's a cool vacation, but I hope you're back to freezing your ass off like the rest of us. I wanted to run a few things by you for when you've got a little time. I've got vacation for the week of Vintage Days. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I'm wondering if you're having a vendor spot this year, and if so, do you need some help setting up that early entrance day? This guy loves to help out at AMA Vintage Days. Vendor spot and campsite. If not, I understand. I'm not sure if I'll be able to transport a bike to or from. So do you have a bike I could rent for the weekend? We probably will. You've talked about using a van for bike transport, full size, or have you used a minivan? Dude, minivans are great. A Dodge Caravan minivan, if you take the mirrors off, it'll pull most motorcycles. You can squeeze them in there. They're pretty good. And so one of the things he posted up, he said that he saw somebody selling a 1979 Yamaha 750. And I'm going to hold this up so you guys can see it. But this is the standard triple. So this is a dual overhead cam, 3-cylinder 750. And you guys, if John were awake right now, he'd be telling you about the one that he got from Wayne, or maybe Wayne sold him. But this is a bike that's been everywhere. I mean, these things they have a bit of a reputation for having a cam problem. They have a bit of a question mark about oil, about lubrication to the cam and stuff like that, which we've heard before. It looks like this guy wants $1,895 for it, and it looks straight as hell. It looks dead stock. I mean, everything about the bike looks completely unfucked with. So I gotta say, for under $2,000, if you want a triple, which a lot of people love triples, I like them. I'm pretty fond of them. It's not my favorite bike in the world, but if you want to suffer through owning a Yamaha from the 70s, late 70s as it is, 1979, you could do a hell of a lot worse than this bike. There's really, and it's not a square headlight bike, so it's not completely hideous, right? It's a pretty decent bike for 1979, and they go pretty nice. They're very smooth. They're very elegant. I would probably go for the 1100. So, I mean, I would hunt around, because I've had a few of the XS 1100s with the shaft drive, the disc brakes everywhere. They're heavy as fuck, but they're really good bikes. I've never had a bad XS 1100. I've had a couple of iffy 750 triples. Just bikes that I knew there was something expensive happening in the top end, but the amount of money I had in the bike really didn't want to make me tear it apart and get into that top end to find out what was going on with it. Yeah. So it is interesting to see that bike from 1979 is punching at about $2,000 right now, because I can tell you 2 years ago that bike was punching at about $800. So that gives you an idea where the market is. So cheers to you. Cool looking bike. I mean, they're neat. They're not ugly. If you got to have a bike from the 70s, that's a good one to have.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, and it's not the most hideous of the things. So yeah, so I thought that was fun. Anybody got anything else?
Hey, you want to hear a joke?
Always want to hear a joke.
So a woman decides to have a facelift for her birthday. And she spent about $5,000 and felt pretty good about the results. On her way home, she stopped at a dress shop to look around. And when she was leaving, she asked the sales clerk, I hope you don't mind me asking, but how old do you think I am? About 35, said the clerk. Actually, I'm 47. And she was feeling pretty good. So she left, and after that, she went to McDonald's for lunch and asked the clerk the same question. He replied, you look about 29. Actually, I'm 47, she said, feeling really good. While standing at the bus stop, she asked the old man the same question. He replied, well, look, I'm 85 years old. My eyesight is going. But when I was young, there was a sure way of telling a woman's age. If I put my hand up your skirt, I'll be able to tell you your exact age. Well, there's no one around. The woman kind of shrugged her shoulders and said, what the hell? So she let him slip his hand up her skirt. After feeling around for a while, the old man says, okay, you're 47. Stunned, she says, that was brilliant. How'd you do that? And the old man says, well, I was behind you at the McDonald's. Dun, 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 dun.
Perfect. Guys, anybody got anything else?
That's it.
Okay, watch those episodes of Moto Stories with Unkie Phil, or in this case, Johnny Mac.
And we're going to shoot this
up so he doesn't fall asleep on his phone.
We got to shoot next week. We got to do some more stories.
Yeah, we'll do some more stories.
People are
Cinchy boy, get me on those. Come on, man. I got stories.
Hey, we are. You've been invited. You did one. The illustrious Mr. Smith did exceptionally well, I might add.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's cool. That's it. Hopefully see you guys all tomorrow, freezing our asses off and having some fun.
Yes.
All right. Ride fast and take chances.
Wake up, Johnny.